Okay, boy, do I have a story. This is a story that is about me and my personal life, and this really did happen. Um, and it all comes down to the question, what is the craziest slash worst thing a blood relative ever did to you? And this comes down to, it includes money, oil royalties, and inheritance deliberate fraud, and how it ultimately worked out, but boy, was I hurt and angry. So, we moved to Oregon in 2010, the very end of 2010. Barely scraping by, but doing okay. Living in an apartment with our 4 dogs. We were only supposed to have 2. That's a whole nother story. I got something in the mail that said my full name, and it was like very professional looking, and it said that we found some money that is owed to you. You need to just, send us $400 to retrieve it, blah, 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 blah. And so I researched the company, and then a bunch of other people said, don't pay them, just look up unclaimed funds through your treasurer and just make sure it says .gov at the end of the website, and that's the right place, and it's free. It doesn't cost you anything. These people are, blood-sucking leeches that go and try to find people that have a lot of money owed to them. Well, to me, it was a lot of money. It's not a ton of money, but I mean, it was, to me, it was a lot. And so I ended up going to California unclaimed property, and I found what they were talking about. And by me looking, somehow, all of a sudden, then I get a call from another oil royalty in Texas talking about unclaimed money, that it went into their, it was in suspense. So it was very suspenseful. It was just like hanging around, I guess, because they had tried to get my contact information, but this person who was my in care of person said they didn't know where I was. They lied. Anyhow, it all comes back to my great grandma, who was from Texas. She allotted $20,000 to each of her grandchildren, which would be my biological father, his brother, and his sister. And my biological father's brother and sister, because he's kind of a nomadic kind of person, very kind soul. Wasn't around when I was a kid, for whatever. So they just went ahead and kind of just made peace amongst themselves and just bypassed him. They just were like, they're like, yeah, we showed up to his driveway of where he was staying at that point and said, we want to help you. And he said, I don't need your help. I don't want your help. Like, what are you talking about? And so they left, and they took that as him saying, I don't want my inheritance from grandma. Like, I don't know. So they gave it to me. They didn't give it to me. They put it in my name that I would get when I was like 21 or something like that. So here I am at 18, and I get back in contact with my biological father. And he's not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. However, my conscience is just like eating at me. And the only other thing other than this money that's been put in my name that I knew about was this oil royalty through Chevron, and I would get like $10 to $30 once every like 3 to 6 months. So it wasn't like I wasn't like raking in the dough, and that went straight to my address with just my name on it. So I did know that something was put into my name, but that was the only thing that I knew about. So once I got back in contact, as an adult, I got in contact with my biological father. I got to know him, and I told him about the money, and it wasn't because he didn't pay child support, so I mean, he didn't like earn it or anything. It didn't matter. It wasn't mine. My great grandma left it and allotted it to him. So it's not like I'm taking what's due to me. Well, technically it'd be like due to my mom because I didn't raise myself. But I would have been like stealing from my great grandma because she wanted it to go to him. It was her choice. It was her will. And they kind of did their own thing with it. And it's not, I'm, you know, it's like playing God. It's not me. It's not my choice. So I told him about it. I helped him get his money. He was a little stingy with it after that. He did help me put a deposit on a room for rent, so that was something. And I have no idea if he invested, kept. I have no clue. I doubt it, but who knows? Who knows? It doesn't matter. It's not my money. It was his. So, you know, move on. Let's see. I was like 27, 8. I was like 29. So over 10 years after I tell him about that money and it's no longer mine, she gets in trouble, I'm assuming, because she never talked to me again. And because they, I'm assuming, kind of like broke the law. I mean, they broke the will. They knew where he was. They knew how to contact him. They went to him, didn't tell him about it, and then just bypassed him and put it in my name. Well, I'm very grateful for it. I really am. That was a kind and thoughtful thing. It's not mine. And I don't know. I mean, maybe he didn't deserve it, but our great-grandma knew him. She loved him. It was left to him. So anyhow, all I did was tell the truth. I mean, everybody can have their judgment one way or another. I wasn't on, like, I don't know. My aunt wasn't a huge fan of mine at that point anyways, because I didn't go and, like, stay with her anymore or anything. So, you know, I was older. I wasn't a fun little, easily manipulated kid anymore. So anyhow, we're living in our apartment in Oregon, and I get that letter, and I ended up finding out through California unclaimed property that I had a lot more than, and I'm talking in the like a couple thousand, not like, you know, millions or anything like that. And that's talking like collectively, not, you know, each one. Regardless, the shady part comes in where her name and her address, my full name, but it says in care of, and meanwhile, that Chevron one that she did let me know about, because she was in control of the whole will, that one went straight to my address. And so she had the wherewithal to give that one royalty my information. But some of the other ones she had sent to her home address, her vacation home. I have no idea if she tried and or succeeded cashing any of them. I have no clue. If I wanted to really do a deep dive audit, I guess I could. But they went to like her vacation home. And when I finally contacted each company, they said that she reported to them that she had no clue where I was. Not true. That she had no way of contacting me. Not true. And that she just was more or less an innocent, helpful bystander, just trying to help someone in need, a relative, whatever. And she was the one who put in care of on those. So I had to prove that I was an adult, that I lived on my own and I wasn't like mentally unstable to where I was like living under the control or care of somebody else. I had to prove my identity. So on top of having to prove my, identity and prove that I was who I said I was, and then also printing out, my ID, all the claim numbers, going to Wells Fargo to get everything notarized. In the midst of all of that, I also found out that somebody had stolen my identity and was working actually under my real full name and social in California while I did not live there, and was not paying taxes. So before I could get it, I had to prove that that wasn't me, and then, you know, get like an identity guard on my whole identity and everything. It was just kind of bananas. But I'm happy that I found out about that, because who knows how long that could have gone for. It could have, you know, I don't want like the IRS cops, if that's a thing, to show up at my door and like arrest me for working and not paying. Anyhow, when it finally all was finished, I was so hurt, because this is somebody who I stayed with for weeks at a time through the majority of my life, and I was fully under the belief that she loved me unconditionally, and that's not true, obviously. However, when we went to go buy our first house, because of the little bits of money that she had tried to hide from me, they had built up, there was enough to buy down the interest rate so that I could be part owner of a house. And it's all thanks to her. So it's just crazy when you can actually trace an entire, like, really wicked plot that actually ended up helping out the person that the plot was against. And this whole situation is the epitome of, you know, all things work for good through God works out all things for good for those who believe in him. And also, like, good karma. Like, you know, if you're a good person and you're doing good things in your life and people are trying to screw you over, if you just keep being positive, you pull that positive energy towards you. I firmly believe that. I don't know if that's, you know, biblically accurate or whatever, but I believe that God supports that, you know, when you are kind and thoughtful, generous, compassionate, you're putting good energy out there, which means that maybe not immediately, but eventually the good is going to come back. And it works the same way with bad, because I've done bad stuff and bad certainly found me. So when you're doing good, good things can happen. And this intentional bad thing that was tried to be done, that she tried to do to me, actually helped me. So thank you. Don't do it again. That was terrible. That was a really mean, spiteful, vindictive thing. But yeah, totally crazy. So what's the worst thing a relative ever did to you?